Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. And today, if Wynn can figure out technology, today I have Bill on with me. Bill has been kind enough to call in from the UK. And so without further ado, I'm going to let Bill take it away about this book. And we're going to have fun with that.
Well, thanks, Wynn. Yes, it's a nice day here in the UK, which we haven't got any rain for a change, so that's good.
Yeah, that's always a good sign.
Yeah, it's a good start. So I'm a self-published author. I've been an author for 4 years now. Prior to that, I had a very traditional career in IT, most of those years working for very large American companies, in fact, all over the world. But I'd always had the ambition to publish a novel, going back to when I was very young. And I thought as I approached my 60th birthday, if I didn't do it now, I'd never do it. So I took some early retirement, and in the last almost 4 years, I've now published 7 thrillers. Thrillers is what I like to read, and so that's the type of books that I've been publishing. And I've been very fortunate to have a fair amount of success with a particular series of the books. 5 of them are all in a series featuring the same main protagonist, and they've done well. So far it's good, and I'm still writing. My next one's on the way, and I intend to publish 2 books a year.
Wow. So you took leap on some corporate America or some corporate UK in your case, and just took a leap and said, look, screw the corporate 9-to-5 job. This is not my passion. IT is not my passion, and I'm going to become a public author and try to make money off of it.
Yes, I mean, we have to be realistic, and I always was, that the chances of making very much money out of it are a bit limited for most people in writing terms. And I used to have a good career and things, but it's a passion, that's the word, you mentioned it. It's about, fulfilling something you've always wanted to do, a dream. And, I didn't want to look back when I was even older than I am now and think, oh, I wish I'd done that, and so, I've done it. I fulfilled something that I always wanted to do with my first book when I published it and I had it in my hands. It's one of the, I've got children, so I won't quite compare it with holding the babies in my hand, but it's quite close, holding that first book. So my passion's kind of been fulfilled. I think the lesson from that is you're never too old to try and do something.
No, exactly. And you guys, for those of you who don't know, I have hemiplegia cerebral palsy, but I first became an author at age 23, writing my autobiography. And yes, people call me crazy for writing my autobiography at a young age, and I'm slowly but surely working on the accompanying autobiography to that one, and so that one is slowly but surely being worked on, and that one will come out about August 12th. So you guys just be on the lookout for that one. And Bill, what has been your favorite book you have written? Now, I know I asked a favorite child question on that one.
Wow. The favorite book I've written, did you ask, or the favorite book that I've read?
the favorite book that you've written, and then I'll ask the favorite book that you've read.
Yeah. Well, I guess, in a sense, I like all my books that I've written, but I think my third book, I decided I would start a series, and I wrote a book called Trafficking, and it became quite successful, in particular here in the UK, where it reached number 10 on Amazon. And that sort of changed things for me as an author. It got me quite a lot of recognition, and it has really led to then some success, with the subsequent books as well. So I would have to say Trafficking, purely because of the importance it's been in my writing career.
Now, when you say trafficking, I am automatically assuming human trafficking.
Absolutely, human sex trafficking.
Okay.
One of the things in common with all my books is that I have tended to write about subjects, themes that are of interest to me and that I think are important, and that's something that has really caught my attention over the last few years. The fact it even exists, a form of human slavery, it's just abominable. And I wanted to, in my own small way, shed some further light on the subject. It's a tiny contribution, but I do think that, if you can all be talking about these terrible subjects and as I say, shedding some light, then that's a good thing. So each of my books tends to tackle a fairly topical and difficult subject.
And why did you decide to write trafficking? Was it because of what you were seeing on the news, or did you experience something personally? Why did you decide to write on the topic of human trafficking? Because honestly, I couldn't do that. I could not do that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I quickly answer here, no, I have no personal experience. But it was very much in my conscience.
If you did, I'm like, hey, that's a whole subject in itself.
I promise everything in the book is pure research.
Good.
So it was very much in my conscience. We're going back about 2.5, 3 years now, and I was reading about it a lot in press. Here in the UK, there was a famous trafficking crime in the north of England, and they made it into a TV series as well, a program about it, a documentary. And it was just shocking what had happened. And then I'd read about it in other countries and things. So I think just at the point where I'd finished my previous book and I was coming to write my next book, it was just very much in my mind and in the news, and I thought, my goodness, I'm going to write about that. And that's tended to be what's happened with each book, that it's just been the thing that's risen to the surface as topical at that point in time.
So, okay, now we've got your favorite book that you have written. What is a book that you go back to time and time again that has helped you with your class, or it could just be a book that you go back to time and time again?
That is such an impossible question to answer. There are so many. I will try and answer. I bet everyone answers that question with 100 names, but there are books from childhood. I don't go back to them now. I do pass them or encourage my children and people to read them. Perhaps I always love things, all the classic books from when I was young, the Three Musketeers, big adventure stories, but also some things that, more literary, Uncle Tom's Cabin and things, and Tom Sawyer, all the literary things. I love to read them all. As an adult, I think that I found that about every 10 years, I wouldn't say my taste necessarily changed greatly, but the book that I find that is the best thing of the last 10 years, sometimes I go back and read it 20 years later, and I think, that seems a little bit dated now, or it doesn't seem as brilliant as it did when I was young, sort of thing. So the books that recently I've read, for example, that I think are exciting, and there's many of them, I would quote perhaps The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a trilogy. And
yes, I am.
Swedish
yes, I am.
Yeah, I really love that trilogy. I thought that was brilliant. They've made it into films, and that certainly is a book. I mean, to be honest, nowadays, and for some years now, I probably don't read great high literature. I tend to read fast-paced, exciting thrillers. Jason Bourne or something by Robert Ludlum is my normal sort of weekly read. And I read a lot of books. I read well over 100 last year. I shall do the same this year. So I kind of like something very fast, exciting, thriller-type things.
Yeah, and I haven't yet read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. and I have yet to see the movie, but I'm going to get that one on audio tape because I need to read that. That apparently is a phenomenal book, and if you say, I like the girl with the dragon tattoo, I'm like, okay, I need to now finally read the girl with the dragon tattoo. So,
yeah, highly recommend.
So what has been your favorite entrepreneurial moment as an author?
Well, as an author, it would be actually just over a year ago, in April last year, I had a great month where, with Amazon helping to publicize my book, I sold over 6,000 copies in the 1 month, and for a self-published author like myself, that's a substantial success. I mean, when I started, I was selling 30 books in the first month, so to sell 6,000 in a month was pretty amazing.
Well, we've looked ourselves up, and for those of you who don't know, Bill and I are both self-published authors, and one of the more famous self-published authors out there is Joanna Penn, Penn of thecreative10.com. Go look up her work. Her work is amazing. And I sat in the hallway actually reading her work. And I had her on the podcast, episode number 1, way back when. And so if you want to go jump into being an author, being a self-published author is a lot of hard work. Bill can attest to that. Joanna Penn can attest to that. I can attest to that. But with the self-publishing industry now, there's so many ways you can do it. There's Draft Digital, there's Amazon, the list goes on and on. But I think with the self-publishing industry, it's a lot more creative than the traditional publishing industry. Although if someone were to give me a traditional publishing deal, I would take it in 2 seconds flat. But I am, like Bill, I'm more of the creative spirit. So I don't want my cover to be changed on the book when I turn a cover in, or the man that you could to be changed just to fit someone else's personality. Do you agree with that statement, Bill?
I agree absolutely. What you're touching on there is one of the big pros of being self-published, that you have control, full control of everything. When you publish, what you publish, the graphics, everything about it. Now, of course, that is hard work, as you say, because you're having to do everything yourself. But the control you have is wonderful, yes.
The control. So, okay, what is your best piece of advice for people who want to jump into this industry, Bill?
Be very careful where you spend your money, I think, because there are enormous numbers of people out there setting up small publishing companies, working from home, where they'll for a certain amount of money, publish your book for you. But really, you can do it all yourself. Now, there will be some, and there are some reputable small companies who will help you do things if you really don't feel you can publish by yourself. But honestly, I've done everything myself, and it is quite possible to do so. Amazon can provide you with templates for how to write your documents, the process for how you go through uploading your books to Amazon and the other sites. It is something that you really can, without being a technical wizard, you can do it yourself. So I just be careful, because a lot of people I hear spending quite a lot of money up front with these organizations, and in all honesty, they're not that likely to sell enough books to cover those costs. But in any event, even if they're going to be successful, they are better off spending that money, I would suggest, on some marketing, some advertising, and again, in the right places, which is a whole subject in itself. But just be very wary. Yeah, would you?
I definitely agree, because Amazon and Draft Digital, I actually had the director of sales of Draft Digital on my on my podcast, Kevin, at one point, and he goes, Draft Digital was the best thing since sliced bread. And they don't do Amazon Kindle, you guys. They do iBooks, they do Kobo, they do Nook, but Amazon is a whole entity in itself, and I believe Bill uses the entity which I use, Create Space.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I used, and they make it easy for you, I think. And so why someone would pay someone else to just do that process for you, I've never quite understood. But it's And the other advice I give everyone is be aware that writing your book is the easy part. That's when the work begins, trying to let people know it exists and trying to market it.
Yes, exactly. And all these big publishers, i.e. Random House, promise that they do all the marketing for you. Nope. They do a little bit more than self-publishing, but I feel like you have to do the majority of the work. I mean, I have friends that are New York Times bestsellers just from self-publishing, and that's because they sold a certain amount of books. But I believe in self-publishing, and I will always be an indie publisher, no matter if someone gives me a sweet deal on traditional publishing. I'm like, nope, because I like the creative freedom, and I think Bill agrees with me in that statement.
I'm with you. We're in agreement, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And so where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of you? And I know it's .uk, not .com. I know that. So where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of you? Obviously, because you're using the entity of Create Space, obviously your books can be found on Amazon.
Absolutely, and that's always a good place to find me. I mean, to be honest, you could Google Bill Ward author, and that would be sufficient to find me on pretty much any of the platforms. But Amazon's good, yep. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Obviously, you'll find me there as well. If someone Googles for Bill Ward author, or for my book Trafficking, Bill Ward and Trafficking, you would certainly find me very easily. So I'd love to hear from you all.
Well, I'm sure my fan base would be so supportive of you. And please, you guys, this is going to turn into Wins Vegathon. Please, if you go pick up any published book, any self-published book, including mine, including Bill's, please leave a review. Honestly, don't leave a fake review saying I love the book, but honest reviews help in the Amazon rankings. So please leave a review for any independent published author. That's my PSA for today. But before I let Bill go back to his writing and go back to his incredible work, I'm actually going to let Bill ask me a couple questions that he's been interested in asking me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, to be honest, the thing that sort of first I wanted to ask, I know little about your illness, and I wondered if you could tell me a little about it.
Well, sure. One, it's not illness. It's, I would say, congenital disease, because I would say congenital disease. Cerebral palsy is a traumatic birth injury. Kids get it at birth. It's a lack of oxygen disability. And so what CP is lack of oxygen at birth. It could be caused by a stroke. It could be caused by a traumatic birth injury. Mine was caused by a traumatic birth injury. And it could also be caused by choking on a piece of popcorn. I have a friend who was born completely able bodied at the age of 2. He choked on a piece of popcorn, got acquired cerebral palsy. And let's see, what else can I tell you? Cerebral palsy manifests itself in totally different ways. I have hemiplegic cerebral palsy, which means it affects both sides of my body, and 764 kids and adults have cerebral palsy, either manifesting in one way or another. So that's 7,460,000 kids and adults have cerebral palsy. So that's just a little bit about my disability and a little bit about why I started raising awareness on this disability.
Well, thank you. That's interesting, and well, it's obviously not it's not holding you back or slowing you down very much with everything you're doing.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And there are days I wish it would. There are days still I wish it would, but no, it's not. And I'm like, stop making me do so many things. I wish there are days that it would slow me down and make me breathe just a few minutes longer, but no, it's not.
Well done. Very well done. You have my admiration. Have you got time? Can I just ask you, and is this something that you would like to see changed, or something that could help everyone who's suffering with it, that we could all do, or that the government could do? Is there one thing that...
Okay, well, you opened up a can of worms, which I'm happy to answer. Well, I don't know about the government in the UK and then healthcare, but I certainly know in the US that healthcare is a subject that scares me all the time. Obamacare, whether Obamacare is going to go away, scares me all the time. So I don't know if the UK has something similar to Obamacare, although they might have government-free health care in the UK. But what I think the government should do, and what I think all people should do for people with any disability, including cerebral palsy, is bring more awareness to it. And knock it off with the research, you guys, because the more research you guys spend on it, the less time and less awareness that you guys have to do. I mean, United Cerebral Palsy all over the world, including in the UK, does more research on this dang disability than they do awareness. And so I think it's time to knock it off with the research and just have us do experimental treatments like exoskeleton or stem cell research or something along those effects, and just bring awareness to it. That's my PSA for today. That's why I write books. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm getting my journalism degree in the fall, and that's why I started this podcast. So thank you very much, Bill, for starting on my tirade of what I think the government and the worldwide population should do.
Well, that's great to hear. I must just let you know, in the UK, all medical aid is free for everyone at the point.
Yay! Yay!
So when I see what's going on in the States with your president, past and present, I do feel for you all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're fighting the system, especially those who are disabled, are definitely fighting the system. I feel like moving to Canada or moving to the UK.
You're welcome here. Come and see us.
Yeah, I'm welcome here. Yeah, I'm welcome as a self-published author, by the way. But, yeah, because I quickly discovered that the other day on another podcast, someone was interviewing a woman who moved, I know what it was. She started a diabetes, foundation to raise diabetic awareness in the UK, and the interviewer said, well, she was originally from the US and married her British husband, and the interviewer said, would you originally come home back to the US? She goes, no way, no how. No way, no how, because she was also a diabetic too. And she goes, when I go to the pharmacy in the UK, I just hand them my card and they send me on my merry way with my medication. And she goes, no way, no how. I would have to, if I was going to move back to the US, I would have to literally make a huge life adjustment, add more stress to myself. So I believe it when you guys say, no way, no how, I'm moving to the US or back to the US.
Yeah, it's not all perfect over here, though, so I wouldn't want to paint completely the wrong picture.
No. Too much rain and too many traffic circles in London. But I thank you for asking those open-ended questions that as you guys know, my life is literally an open book, and you guys can go find my work along with Bill's work on Amazon. My work is under Amazon.com. His work is under Amazon.uk. So all you have to do is type Amazon.uk to find Bill's work about human trafficking and all that good stuff. And I presume he's on the Amazon US site. Are you, Bill?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I do sell my books over there.
So people can go to Amazon.com. They just don't have to go to Amazon.uk. And so, you guys, I appreciate Bill's time. I know he called in from the UK. And how many hours are you still ahead of me?
Well, here at the moment, it's just coming up to 7 o'clock in the evening. So what time are you there?
I am almost noon.
Okay, so 7 hours then.
Almost noon. 7 hours. 7 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy we got this interview done. And I will please share this interview out. That goes to all my fan base, and that goes to Bill and Pruitt. And this podcast has been sponsored by Grace by Grit. Grace by Grit is a clothing line here in the U.S., California to be exact. And Grace by Grit is giving you guys 20% off their clothing line. And then if you guys go to look up Go Kitter, K-I-T-T-E-R, they put the 20 hashtags with your tweets, so you guys don't get lost in the heat. And so I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to another fabulous episode of Butterflies of Wisdom, and I thank Bill for his time, and I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode. Thanks to you guys.
Thank you, Win.